Yes, when you come to Ghana, our political history starts from the colonial days. Then, during the CPP, UGCC, whatever, during the government study, that's where our political history starts from. But then I'm going to let us look at something with respect to our political development, practically with respect to business environment. And this presentation is mostly going to take place from within the Fourth Republic, that is from late President Lawrence era, and then to our current situation, our current time. The question that I want us to first analyze is, as our political system works, our political environment, how to build millionaires or millionaires, as our political system, how to grow advantageous business people in a society that can help to grow the economy for our country. That's what I want you to get it down before we try to look at what is in our presentation for the video. And so when you look onto the screen, has the Ghanaian government failed the citizens in sustainable job creation? That's the question that I'm trying to understand. As a successive government, how can successive government intentionally build millionaires and billionaires? Is also something that I want us to look at. And then how can we get Ghanaians onto the Forbes Africa Billionaire ratings? So these are some of the things that I want you to help me to understand and see how our government within the Fourth Republic have or not done enough. And so we are starting with some images of some of our presidents. And so first on our list is our late former president Lawrence. Jerry John Lawrence, Papa J, and then Junior Jesus. That's one of his names or his nicknames. Then you also have former President John Ajay Kufuor, the genital giant. Yes, former President Kufuor. Then you also have late former President John Evans Fifi Laws, also called described as Asubehene. And then we have John Dramani Mahama, also a former president, the handsome president, let's see that. And then we have our current sitting president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the wisdom man, is our current president. And so I come to do small analysis with respect to these Ghanaian leaders and their impact on job creation, business creation in that sense, but we expect to help to build or create Ghanaian billionaires in our society. So our focus is going to be on this table, this diagram. You can see on the top, you have Lawrence Kufuor, Moss, Mahama, and Akufo-Addo. Then in this vertical column, you have a period in government, number of factory owners, number of workers per factory, and then total workers per each government. So when you look at the table, Lawrence was in government for 8 years plus. I'm talking about the 8 democratic years, election years, the 2 terms, plus the years that he spent in government before that. Okay, and then Kufuor spent 8 years. Moss spent roughly 4 years, and then Mahama spent 4 years. So Moss and Mahama gave us 8 years. Then we have Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, also in his second term, completing or going to complete the 8 years. And so these are their durations in government. And then let's assume that each term or each government was able to give us at least per 8 years, we have 20 factories, 20 Ghanaian-owned factories, not factories owned by government, but factories that governments have helped Ghanaians who are interested in business to establish. So if Lawrence plus the age plus the number of years was able to give us at least 20 plus 10, and then Kufuor gave us 20, Moss 10, Mahama 10, and then Akufo-Addo, let's say he's able to give us 20 factories. The number of factories, let's also understand that it corresponds to the number of factory owners. And so in this sense, we have around 30 factory owners under Lawrence, 20 under Kufuor, 10 under Moss, 10 under Mahama, and then 20 under Kufado. So it means that if anything at all, with respect to creating Ghanaian billionaires, if anything at all, these leaders are able to give us 20 individuals who own industries, who own businesses, as a result of their policies for business growth in the country. Now, let's also look at if at least each of these factories is able to fully employ 500, 500 workers. Okay, number of workers per factory is 500, which means that they are going to have 500 across the board. But the total number of workers by each government, that is the 500 by the 30, is going to give us 15,000. And then under Lawrence, you get 15,000. If we get 10,000, most you get 5,000. Muhammad, you get 5,000, and then Kufar, you get 10,000. If you look at this table, we are looking at the impact of these leaders in creating Ghanaian billionaires, okay? With other things that they are doing, we want to grow our own billionaires. So we are looking at if at least we can count Ghanaian factory owners, 30 who were able to come into existence because of the policies of Lawrence. Ghanaian factory owners or business owners who own these industries, at least 20 and above, for them to count and see if we can get this table. Okay, so after this table, let's go to some analysis with respect to the table. Total workers employed fully with respect to all the 4 or 5 leaders. You're having 115,000 employees, okay? And then total factory owners, which is equivalent to or equal to total factories, so equal to 90. So it means that from Lawrence to Kufado, we should be able to have at least 90 operating Ghanaian-owned businesses, not businesses or factories owned by government, no, Ghanaian individuals who are able to start something. Okay, this is what we are trying to look at. So let's say these workers are fully cared for, as if government herself have employed them. You have these factories, and then the workers in them are Ghanaians. The workers in them, because the government has put in place measures to make sure that Ghanaian citizens are well paid for, these workers are being cared for as if government herself is caring for them. So we are having better working environment or effective workplace insurance policy. We are also talking about better salary structure, and then we are talking about better retirement package. We go around some of the, I don't want to talk about that, but we go around some of the businesses or industries in Ghana, and their salary structure is as if no problem. Let's see. Now, what we are talking about is not about the health sector or educational sector, building universities or building hospitals or building police stations, Air Force bases, whatever. No, that's what we are not. That's what we are not talking about. We are talking about industries like gas, industries like Unilever, industries like Ghana Rubber Estate Limited, industries like thermal steel production. Yeah, that's what we are trying to talk about. So all these factories focus on primary production, and then primary production we are looking at where we have at least 90 of these factories based on converting or conversion of our natural resources into finished goods, so that our base as a country will be solid for other secondary production institutions and businesses. And so we are also concerned with government institutions serving as nurturing grounds for fresh graduates to learn and prepare before entering into entrepreneurship. At times you hear some public servants, old public servants, saying that fresh graduates should go into entrepreneurship. At times, when I hear these things, I try to ask myself, you the one who is saying that the fresh graduate should go into entrepreneurship, you've not even started a common poultry farm. All your life, you've been in, or you've been under government payroll. You have experience, you have the money, you have the resources, you have the connections, you have the network. You and the fresh graduate who should go into entrepreneurship. If a fresh graduate wants to go into entrepreneurship, it needs money, the bank will not give it to him or her. They will ask you to bring collateral property for exchange before they can give you the money. The fresh graduate does not have that resources. You have the experience, you have the money, you have the connections, you have the network. So you and the fresh graduate who should go into entrepreneurship. So government institutions should rather serve as a nurturing ground for graduates to come and at least prepare for some money from experience from network before they can pursue the entrepreneurship program. Unlike old people telling fresh graduates to go into entrepreneurship. That's not what we are looking at. And then we are also looking at successive government putting in place righteous and legal conditions to help sustain all Ghanaian factories, industries, and businesses, irrespective of who owns them. This has been one of the reasons why we don't have billionaires in Ghana, or we don't have sustained wealth in the country, because most of the businesses are not sustained. They run for 2, 3, 5 years, and then they are down. And so what can successive government do to help sustain our businesses going forward? Then we are looking at government must do whatever necessary to prevent collapses of Ghanaian businesses. Whenever a business collapses, whenever an institution collapses, there are direct and indirect effects on the economy. Some of these is that direct employees lose their job. Let's say you have a hospital, and then the hospital is a private base, it collapses. The nurses, the doctors, the accountants working in the hospital will lose their job. Aside that, we also have indirect employees losing their job, like carpenters, like electricians, like painters, like even those who weed around the sanitation, whatever, they also lose their job. So whenever a business collapses, it does not only affect those who sit in the business to work, but the environment. Even those who sell on the premises of the businesses, they also lose their source of income. And so the government going forward must do whatever is necessary, righteous and legal, to make sure that we sustain all Ghanaian businesses. And so when you look at this small illustrational table here, I'm trying to let you understand that, let's assume from the first government reference, we have 4 industries. Then for first time, the 4 was reduced to 2. It means that 2 collapses, and then for 4 goes 3. We are having 5. We have to move 5 forward so that we can build on. But then going into most administration, we have only 1. It means that we will lose 4 industries from here. Then most build 4. We've had 5. We have to move the 5 and add on. But then during most Mahama, we've also lose either 2. So you have 3. Then Mahama has 3. From Mahama to Akufo-Addo, instead of having 6, we are having only 2. Then Akufo-Addo also has 3, making 5. Going forward, the next government and Akufo-Addo may also say that due to whatever reasons, we've lost the 5, we lose 4, we are having only 1, also goes 3. So it means that we go forward and we come back. So at the end of the day, the economy or the conditions for building sustained businesses are not there. We build 1, we collapse 1, we build 1, we collapse 1. So the effect that these businesses will have on the long-term impact of the country and its citizens are not in place. So we are trying to see what government can do to make sure that Ghanaian businesses are not collapsed. Then we are looking at also as a country, we still don't have dominance over our primary production, or primary product conversions. Our primary product, we are looking at cassava, maize, some things like cassava, maize, corn, oil palm, tomatoes, and the likes. Now, when I was very young in primary school, I heard that Malaysia came to learn about oil palm from Ghana. And then I also heard that, or learned that Malaysia have more than 30 uses for the oil palm tree. Since that time up to now, I've not seen these uses being applied in Ghana. So I still don't understand if we are going forward and we are coming back. Then let's even look at tomato. Ghana has the most fertile land almost in West Africa. Then we are going into a desert country like Burkina Faso to go and buy tomatoes. With all our fertile land, with all our resources, even water bodies, we have more water bodies than Burkina Faso. So why should Ghana go and buy tomatoes from Burkina Faso? It's rather Burkina Faso who has to come down to Ghana to buy tomatoes. So are we building our country, or we are just doing anything anyhow? Now, if we are able to at least convert all our primary products into finished goods in our own country, it means that we are going to have the base for building into the area sciences. If we are not able to do these things, how can we even take off space engineering or space science? So this is my concern, that it looks as if successive government have not helped to build the business environment in our country. And so looking forward, going forward, what are we going to expect? What we need to expect from our leaders? They must be able to put in place solid, sustainable, progressive systems and conditions to help Ghanaian businesses flourish on the long run, not irrespective of who owns them or how they came into existence. Thank you for watching my videos, and then your comments are welcome.